Hey y'all, this is BG Codes and I am bradgarropy. In the previous video, we wrote our very first basic webpack configuration. And in this video, we're going to be expanding on that configuration to introduce hot module reloading into the webpack dev server. As always, I'll have some starter code up on GitHub and I'll put the link down in the description. So let's get going. So right now, our development experience isn't great. If I run npm start, which runs webpack serve under the hood, this doesn't do any kind of reloading when we change values. So for instance, this says, hey world right here, but what if instead I want it to say, hey Brad? It's going to recompile, sure, but when you refresh, you're not seeing the updated values. And that's because our index.html file is hard-coded. It's always looking at dist/index.js, but the Webpack dev server is dynamically generating and building these files and holding it only in memory. So this is going to be difficult, imagine, if you had multiple entry points and multiple outputs in your Webpack build. For instance, what if you not only had index, but you had like auth and you had users and whatnot? Or imagine if you wanted to improve the caching performance of your website and you wanted to add some kind of hash, maybe a bunch of letters and numbers before the file name, meaning like if you ever updated or rebuilt the file, that hash would change and it would no longer pull from the cache. But if it didn't change, you would have a cache hit. All of these things lead us to the fact that we should be generating our index.html file. And lucky for us, there's a plugin that does just that, that plays very nicely with the Webpack dev server to allow for hot module reloading when we make code changes. So let's go ahead and install this. And also, we're going to be talking more about plugins later, but this is a very simple plugin, as easy as it gets. It's called HTML Webpack plugin. So let's go ahead and install it. And remember, we're installing it as a dev dependency because it's part of the build process. So we're installing HTML Webpack plugin. Now we'll hop over to our Webpack config. This is where we're going to reference it, and we'll import it or require it as HTML Webpack plugin equals require from HTML Webpack plugin. And now we need to add a configuration property for plugins. Plugins is an array. And in here, you just specify the plugins that you want to use and provide any options. So in this case, we're going to be instantiating a new HTML Webpack plugin, and the default options are fine. This is going to tell Webpack to automatically generate an index.html and include the bundle that Webpack built. And that's it for configuration. So let's go ahead and run build, and we'll pay attention to the dist directory. You'll see here, after we run build, it actually generated an index.html for us. And we'll open this up. It's kind of minified and things like that, but if you scroll over, you'll notice that it is automatically pulling in index.js. And what this means is that when Webpack dev server runs, this index file is going to be generated in memory and then will point to the new index.js file. So let's try it out. In index.js, we should have hey Brad running. So we'll run npm start, open it up, we'll refresh, and you'll notice a new message here. Live reloading enabled, okay? So now we are hooked up to live reloading. And if I change this to I don't know, hey dude, and save it and go back, the page refreshed and now we have hey dude here. So that's how you enable hot module reloading with the Webpack dev server, by using the HTML Webpack plugin. In the next video, we're going to be talking about how to split this configuration into multiple configurations, typically for use in production and development environments. I'll see you there.